Well, good morning, everyone. This is John Craig, and sitting next to me, because she's in the picture, I'll go ahead and introduce her. This is my lovely wife, Miss Sandi Craig. And I saw you kind of like give me an eyeball look on the camera. I did. All right. So you are listening to the second day of the week show that is branded Let Us Reason Together. And I'm your host. It's based off of Isaiah 118. Come now and let us reason together, says Yahweh. Though your sins are as scarlet, they will be as white as snow. Though they are red like crimson, they will be like wool. And this is where we sit down and reason out current events, cultural shifts, and of course this week's Torah portion. And we can either push back or push through. Nevertheless, if iron does not sharpen iron, sparks will never fly, let alone ever get a fire going. And without a little heat and a good midrash, how will our hearts ever get soft and moldable enough to be transformed in the way that the Spirit, the Ruach HaKodesh, wants us to be, and maybe have a little fun along the way? And what is today? It's Monday. It is the second day of the week. It is August 5th, 2019. It is the fourth day of the fifth month in the Hebrew year, 5779. And so we do like to see your interaction. We've got several people joining us here in the chat room. It's good to see you, Marie. And I hate to just call you out. I'm just going to Tova's in there. Joe's in there. Good to have you all with us. I've got joining with me on the other side, Mr. Mark.
Mr. Mark?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. I am on reason. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. I am on reason. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. I am on reason. I'm on reason with the Holy Ghost.
All right. Hey, you have more?
I thought everybody would just join in with me, but I guess you don't know those old songs. Those old good Holy Ghost songs.
I know things like give me oil in my lamp, keep me burning, burning, burning. Give me oil in my lamp, I pray.
Hallelujah.
Yeah. So Mark David Smith, how's it going out there in North Carolina, just north of the border?
North of the border. That's me. I'm north of the border. I'm north of everything. I'm blessed of the Lord, and He favors me.
There you go. There you go. Hopefully, we'll see JR joining us here in just a little bit. But as we go on, I've got you guys all on the line with me. So now we need to know what we're celebrating today. So I've got some weird and quirky celebrations going on today, since we're just kind of a weird and quirky group here, right? I'm just saying. Okay, so are you a Michael Jackson fan?
No.
All right. How about you, Mark?
Hey, I would like for Sandi to go off and come back on again so we can give her a fanfare.
All right.
All right.
Joking. I will say this about Michael Jackson, though. Our son won the Michael Jackson dance contest, and about 500 people in Cancun.
Yeah, he did. He did like a moonwalk and everything. He did good.
Yeah.
Wow.
In 2007.
Right.
Pretty cool.
Back in the day when he had big curly hair.
His hair's still curly. He just doesn't have it long.
It's just not big. How about this? It's Big Junk Day. Big Junk Day. Like, do you have like an old tractor sitting in your front yard? You know, you can celebrate that big old piece of junk. Or how about this? Maybe a 1996 Pontiac Transport that sits in the driveway that needs to be hauled off.
Some people have a 1996 Pontiac Transport that hasn't moved in 10 years, and they've been asking their husband for that long to take it out of our driveway.
Yeah. All right. I need to call the wrecker this week. Just get it out. Just
I've got a car hauler if you want to borrow it.
I'll come get it.
Come on.
I'll get it this afternoon. Sandi, I'll be back next week.
You're not going to Mark's house without me. I can tell you that right now. If I'm going to Mark's house, I'll go without you, but you can't go without me.
Whoa, wait a minute. All right. How about Sober Driver Day as we go out there? We'll be sober.
I would hope that you are sober if you're driving.
The Successful Fishing Day, and we could do a little bit of that while we're on the coast.
I've never fished in my life.
I've fished, but it's not always successful. And then
I fish for men.
You fish for men.
Okay, not that sounds bad.
You got one here.
I fish for
No.
men, for people.
We understand that. Whoa, hey, check it out. JR's calling. Hold on just a second. Let's see what's going on. Hey, JR, what's up?
Hey, I got a question. I'm going on my phone to get looks my computer's not working great. But what website do I got to go to now? Because I forgot you can't go to the emails.
All right, I'm on the station right now, so I'll talk to you. I'll be back.
All right.
Okay. All right. See you, Mark. Okay. So, and this other one that's very, very important because this theme needs to show up several times during the show today. Just so you know, right, Sandy? Okay, you got to keep it going.
Yes,
got to keep
right.
it going. Standing Day. Standing Day. It's Standing Day. Okay. All right. Did you like that? Like that view? It's like headless. All right. So it's Standing Day. Everybody is supposed to stand. Stand and work. Do you ever stand at your computer
No.
and work?
No.
Sometimes it really makes a big difference when you just stand and get off the derriere, stand up. But there's some other things. Think about this. And we're going to have I want you to be thinking about songs that have the word stand in it.
Stand by me.
Whoa. Okay. All right. So just keep that in mind. And so here's another quirky, weird day. Today is National Underwear Day. And I'm not going to ask the next obvious question.
Do you have your underwear on?
Do you know where your underwear is?
That's weird.
Well, yes, I have mine on. So just so you know, I don't want to have anybody have any questions out there. All right, let's move right along. And it's also, I love this, National Napping Month. National Napping Month. So this month, it's sanctioned to take a nap because what better thing to do on a hot August afternoon than to take a nap? Unless you live down under, because then it may be getting cooler for you down there. And but why not take a nap in Australia? All right, moving on. But here's the quotes of the day. Positive quote of the day. This is from Helen Keller. So consider all the things that she had challenges in. Resolve to keep happy, and your joy and you shall form an invincible host against difficulties. Wow. That's from a woman who never knew sight or
She did before she got sick.
Did she?
Yeah.
Okay, so she did know that, and every reason not to be happy, and she resolved to be happy, and to have joy, and had that invincible host against difficulties. I love that. What a skill that is. How about this? So whenever you think you get upset and you get frustrated about circumstances, think about Helen Keller and what type of attitude she carried. Here's a funny quote of the day. So this is your chance, Sandy. I'm just giving you a little heads up. Groucho Marx, a child of 5 would understand this. Send someone to fetch a child of 5. Okay, that's just a pregnant.
Do you really go over these before you choose them?
It's a pregnant pause.
Do you never choose something really funny?
I get this from my special website.
Why would go and search for something that's actually funny?
But Groucho Marx was funny in his day.
Well, he's not funny now.
Well, 100 years later, he's not so funny. Some of this stuff might be funny, but it was funny in the day, just so you know. That's comedy of the past.
What day are you doing your show in?
It's the second day. All right, how about this? Love quote of the day. So this is where you swoon. This is from Aristotle. So this is even further back in your history. Okay. Love is composed of a single soul inhabiting 2 bodies. Okay, verse of the day. I got this actually from this week's Haftorah portion, and this is from Isaiah 1:16 and 17. Of course, there's a couple different Haftorah portions out there, but there's the one in the first chapter of Isaiah, and it is this: wash yourselves, make yourselves clean, remove the evil of your deeds from my sight, cease to do evil. And then I love this, verse 17: learn to do good, seek justice, reprove the ruthless, defend the orphan, plead for the widow.
Acts of justice.
Acts of justice. If you want to know what true acts of justice is, it's not going out there in black masks and black outfits and hitting people over the head with bike locks. That is not acts of justice. This is to do good, learn to do good, seek justice, reprove the ruthless.
And that's the IHOP motto right there is Isaiah 1:17. So
that's that in Micah 7:8, I think.
And Micah 7:8.
So here's something that happened on this day in history. I thought this is very interesting, especially since because of my Klan background, and I'm not talking about the KKK, I'm not talking about that, but my Scottish Klan, because of the Craigs and the McKeons. And the
Craigs and the McKeons.
Craigs and the McKeons. So here we go. One of the great heroes of Scotland. So today in history on August 5th, William Wallace. Do you remember who that is? William Wallace? Well, yes. I'll read on. Braveheart was one of the main leaders of the First War of Scottish Independence in September 1297. He defeated the English army at the Battle of Stirling Bridge and was appointed the Guardian of Scotland, but was defeated at Falkirk in 1298. He resigned his post in favor of Robert the Bruce. Wallace managed to avoid being captured until 1305, when he was turned over to Edward I of England, and he was put on trial for treason. To this charge, he replied, "I could not be a traitor to Edward, for I was never his subject." Wow. I mean, think about that. That is something else to think about in this day and age. How about this? And then on August 23rd, 1305, so it was on this day that he was arrested. And then on August 23rd, 1305, he was stripped naked and dragged by horse through London. He was hung, drawn, and quartered, strangled by hanging, but kept alive, emasculated, disemboweled, and had his bowels burned before him, beheaded, and then cut into 4 parts. So William Wallace was portrayed by Mel Gibson in the Academy Award-winning film Braveheart, released in 1995. Jonathan, our son, really liked that movie quite a bit.
And so did you.
Well, it really gives you something.
Not me.
That history, the boldness, the manliness, the heart of it all.
No, when they pulled out his heart.
Gratuitous violence.
Gratuitous violence.
That's what makes a good movie.
That makes it a good movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
We're missing JR.
All right. So
he was trying to do it on his phone. He'll be in a little bit later.
Okay. All right. So that's what happened in this day in history. William Wallace was arrested on August the 5th. And then I guess that was a speedy trial, because it was just, on the 23rd, how many days later is that? 19 days, 18 days later. Yeah, they did all that to him. So there you go. How about on the lighter side? Let's jumpstart our brain for a second. And some wit for the day. Let's untwist our brains and some points to ponder. So thoughts for the day, Miss Sandy Craig. How to stay young. All right. How to stay young. So number 1, throw out non-essential numbers. This includes age, weight, and height. Let the doctors worry about them. That's why you pay them. We don't go to the doctor, do we? Okay.
Well, of course.
All right.
Except
So
for that one exception.
One exception. All right. So how about this? Keep only cheerful friends. The grouches pull you down. I like that one.
That one's true.
That's a good one. All right. So don't worry. Be happy. How about this? Keep learning. Learn more about the computer, crafts, gardening, whatever. Never let the brain idle. An idle mind is the devil's workshop, and the devil's name is Alzheimer's. Did you know that's true? If you get into a rut, it's actually it can expedite the onset of Alzheimer's. But if you're constantly making your brain do new things and try new things and learn how to use things like this, it's called a mouse. It's easy, point and click. Do new things. Don't be afraid to try new things out. Sandy, you like learning all sorts of stuff about gardening and stuff.
Well, I did learn something that prevents Alzheimer's.
What?
Smelling wine.
Smelling wine. Yeah, they said that because it causes your in your brain. You actually have a memory of smells.
And they said it's so much stronger than all the other senses.
So much stronger, all the senses, and then you can when you smell the fragrances. Then what it does is it activates these memories.
When you learn to
do
the nose,
and then so as you learn and you smell different spices and flowers and all these different things, and you put those into your olfactory memories, then you can
and you try to identify,
and then you identify that in the fragrance and the aroma of a wine. Then it's really amazing what it does. It activates all sorts of different things. How about this? Enjoy the simple things. That's good. Laugh often, long and loud. Laugh until you gasp for breath. We did that while we were on vacation, didn't we? One time. I have to say, we probably laughed more than just one time.
What happened?
At Mom and Dad's house. I gave the story.
Oh, you got to save that for a show.
I'm going to save this for a show.
You need to do it on my show. Come in on my show and give me that story.
I'm telling you.
Mr. Craig is a storyteller if he wants to be.
I'm telling you, we were all laughing.
You laugh more at yourself more than anybody.
We almost leaked. Let me just say that.
Speak for yourself.
Almost leaked. It was so funny.
Did you almost leak?
We were gasping for breath.
No, I wasn't.
You wasn't?
No.
You'd already heard the story though.
Not in that way.
So
you're pushing the limits on things we can say on the network here. Like leaked and all the things that happened to Mr. Wallace and all those kind of things. Man, you're pushing that limit, buddy.
All right. I don't want to get us banned because free speech is no longer free, but let's just move on. Okay. How about this? The tears happen. The tears happen. Endure, grieve, and move on. The only person who is with us our entire life is ourselves. Be alive while you are alive. So how's that? How about this? Surround yourself with what you love, whether it's family, pets, keepsakes, music, plants, hobbies, whatever. Your home is your refuge. Here's one. Cherish your health. Cherish your health. If it's good, preserve it. If it's unstable, improve it. If it's beyond what you can improve, get help. Number 9, don't take guilt trips. Take a trip to the mall, even to the next country, next county, to a foreign country, but not to where the guilt is. I go to the next county almost every day because like Amarillo's in 2 counties. All right. Okay. Moving right along. And then tell the people you love that you love them at every opportunity. I love you, Sandy.
Oh, this is so, you do not do that.
Hey, Mark, I love you, brother. All right. So
we're bookending you.
I feel like something's poking me in my ears. Oh, stop it. Stop it. Oh, it's better than a wet willy though. Okay, here we go. All right, we're having fun. I guess it's time to move to our next segment.
Which is the Torah portion?
But wait a minute.
Wait.
But wait. What about Standing Day?
We already talked about Standing Day.
Yeah, but Standing Day is when I was thinking about Stan, I was thinking about songs. And Sandy, you just like track with me all the time. So what's the number one song, Mark? I'm going to give it to you. Number one song that has the word stand in it.
Stand. There's a song called Stand.
There is a Stand. Is it the number one song?
Number one song, probably in its day. It's by Stan, like Casey and the Sunshine Band or something like that. And in my day of classic rock, the early days, there was a song. It was a great song. Matter of fact, we played it on Planet before as one of the theme songs on Planet. And it was probably number one in its day.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, the number one of all time is called I'll Stand By You by the Pretenders.
That's a good one.
And then the second one is this. You probably recognize it from The Police. Don't stand so close. Don't stand so close to me.
Yeah, but not a good song though. But
and then the number 3 song, everybody knows this one. Stand by me.
Well,
Won't you stand
I already
Stand
sang
by
it.
me. I know you did sing it. Mark missed it earlier. A little singing of it. So there you go. So there's your top
Oh,
three.
wait.
Oh, here's another. There's another one, and it's number 6. Number 6 on the list was by Tammy Wynette.
No.
Stand by your man.
Okay, the one
Stand by your man.
there you go.
Yeah.
The one I was talking about was by Sly and the Family Stone, and it only reached number 13. But that's why you didn't know that song.
There's a Stand by REM,
Yeah,
but I don't know how that
Yeah,
goes.
REM is.
Yeah, I don't know that one. Maybe when I heard it, I probably know it. And then there was one more that
Tina Turner, Stand by the Rain. I don't know how that goes
I
either.
can't stand the rain.
Oh, I can't stand by the rain.
I can't stand the rain. Yeah.
It was the number 1 song.
Yeah,
No.
on the all-time list with Stan is it's number 11. Yeah.
Well, I thought we were only talking about number 1 songs.
Yeah, well, these all had their places. But anyway, there's some songs for Stan.
I hear stand up for Jesus, children of the cross.
I used to love that song as a kid.
Lift high. Okay.
You're so religious, Sandy. You're just so religious. It's
Sorry. I'm sort of, that's what I know and that's what I talk about. So.
Wow. Okay.
Okay. All right. Which is a good segment point. We're going to transition now because we got the Torah portion to talk about. And this week's Torah portion is Devarim. And Sandy, you've got that.
I am. We're going to talk about Devarim. And we're going to talk about, you're going to go, oh, we always hear about that. But maybe you're going to hear something new or different because we're going to talk about the giants. And I want you to know that this whole Torah portion, you throughout it, interspersed throughout this Torah portion, you hear about giants. What? Well, okay. We're going to sort of center in on only Og, king of Bashan, was left of the remaining Rephaim. His bed, a bed of iron, is now in Rabbah of the Ammonites. It's 9 cubits long and 4 cubits wide, Deuteronomy 3:11. But I want you guys to know that there is a role for giants in the Torah and in the writings, and it is to hold and to guard. Think about this. Giants hold and guard spiritually significant territory. That means if they're guarding spiritually significant territory, if you see a giant, you're about to see a promise answered.
Oh, well, that's good.
Yeah.
All right.
So what's happened is they've come to the border of their promised lands, and the question is, we've heard this question. If you've heard preaching, you've heard it throughout. Do we see ourselves as grasshoppers or do we see ourselves as giant killers? But I want us to talk. So remember that giants hold. You see in a giant, a promise is right there about to be answered, but you have to choose what you do. But I want us to look at Og for a minute. Well, let's just look at the different words for giants first. We have Rephaim, Nephilim, Anakim. Some even say that the Zim and Zimzumims are also words for giants. So we have 3 to 5 other words that are used in the word about giants. Now, let's look at Og, okay, just to get a perspective of what he is. Traditionally, we hear he's 10 feet tall, okay? Traditionally, you hear that when you add it all together, it's 10 feet. But there's something there that maybe it's different than that even, because we know they've found 47-inch femur bone, and that's it, just a femur bone, and longer, bigger. But the word for bed here is actually ERES. And you know what it actually means? When you look at Hebrew, what that word actually means?
No.
Crib.
Oh.
I'm just saying it's a possibility. Let's open up our mind. Maybe it's not an actual bed. It's his crib that's 10 feet. Now, what does that mean? Because the word there in Hebrew is crib. It's not actually bed, a 10-foot crib to hold the baby. I don't know. Think about that. But nonetheless, a giant's a giant, no matter if he's 10 or 400 feet or whatever it is. Go back and do some research on what they found and discovered. Giants were big. You wonder how the old cities were built and things like that. Well, there were some giants out there and they helped take care of it. But
gives all new meaning to hard birth.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, especially if these were like regular women and
Well,
giving birth to.
but we also know giants have relation to the you look at Nephilim, you look at the mixing of the angels and the humans, and then you have the Nephilim and the demonic and all of that. We're not going to talk about that today, but we are going to talk about just some different things about Og himself, just some simple facts. Traditional sources, the Midrashes and the Talmud and other things range in adding stuff to Og's life. Some even say that he was way back on the ark. Yeah, imagine that he held on to the ladders of the ark and Noah fed him. Yeah. We're just talking traditional sources. I'm not saying these are true. Others say that
they had ladders on the ark.
That he was the grandson of one of the watcher angels, and I cannot where I have it in my notes, I do not know, but I'm not going to take the time to look. So anyway, you've got that there. Others say that Moses, when he went up against him, actually was able to kill him himself, and Moses became like 10 feet tall because of the spirit upon him when the ants came and attacked Og, and Moses killed him. But these are all traditional things, but nonetheless giants. And some say, tradition says, that Moses was actually afraid of him because he seemed invincible, at least for a moment. And I have to say, we also see fear not all over and over. You've heard this in sermons. You've heard it, fear not, fear not, fear not. But to understand, if you're seeing something that is so huge and so big that the baby is 10 feet, needed a 10-foot bed, human terms say that mountain or that obstacle is so big that there's no way to defend yourself. There's no way you can win. And that's what the enemy wants us to believe. That's what the children of Israel believed. And they acted as such. But if you remember who you are, things will completely change in circumstances. You will be the victor. I remember one of these things when I see injustice, even around, I don't see myself as not even 5'2". I'm just a hair under that. I'll give you an example. And people, I say this because people at Life of Worship always remind me of this. It was several years ago. I was holding an event at the park, and lots of people were there. But of course, there's other people there. And there was this big guy, tall and big, and he was going after his girlfriend. Well, you don't do that in front of me. So I go over there. Greater is he who is in me than he who is in the world. And I get between him and that girl, and she's taller than me. Everybody's taller than me physically, but I don't see myself as that. And I got in his face and I was like, you don't do that. It's not, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And the man stopped, and they departed, in the fight and the whatever was happening scattered. But we've got to remember who is in us. And so something else that's really interesting when you're looking at the giants, and you're even looking at Sihon, and you're looking at the word Sihon, which is translated the broom of destruction. You use that samek, which is like a tower, a fort, or a shelter. Anyway, you look at the root of it, and the letter root forms what it means is to talk, to say, his words, tongue, a broom of destruction. So it almost seems that part of the way we defeat the giants is by the very words of our mouth. When you go back and you research that Hebrew out, there are giants among us, folks. Yeah, there are still even, I would say, some 6-toed giants, not going there. But that obstinacy, that rebellion against Yah is and can be defeated with the word and the words we use, how we see ourselves. Remember, the Israelites said back in Numbers, we see ourselves as grasshoppers. Didn't say they saw them, because if you read throughout the Torah, when they're following the Torah, Yah would cause this thing to rise up within him, and the giants of the land would fear the Israelites when they came. But then we forget who we are, and the enemy gains the territory. Guys, the promise is out there, and it's about to be yours. Remember your own wilderness. You choose what you see it as. You see it as a desert, or you see it as a lush and green place. The giants around you, you see them for what they are. They're just easy obstacles to get through Yah himself, to get and to receive the promise that you have. There you go. That's my short little snippet. And I could talk a lot more, but it's not about me teaching a thing.
So. That's cool. That's really big. 47-inch femur.
47-inch femur.
I mean, that's like huge. All right. Hey, Mark. So what are your thoughts on this part of the portion?
I think that if we could find another 5-foot person like Sandy could stand on their shoulders and talk to him face to face.
There you go.
I am more than 5 foot. I'm 5 foot 1 3/4 inches. I'll have you know.
Well, but if you were standing on a 5-foot person's shoulders, then you would basically be face to face.
Eye to eye. Unless that word is the Hebrew word that's used actually does mean crib, and then he's much bigger.
If he's got that 10-foot crib.
Yeah. The problem is, Sandy, is that the new use of the word crib that's usually used in like gang places is actually an ancient word. Back then it meant the same thing as, hey man, let's go over to your crib. So his house was actually 10 foot tall.
Then actually
not that big a deal.
Yeah, so he's a teeny tiny little guy.
Well, there you go. See?
Well, I appreciate the clarification on that, because when they said let's go to my crib, I'm thinking about all these big guys getting in this little crib. I just don't get it. I don't get it.
Come up with the times, dude.
Yeah, man. That clarified that for me. Clarified that for me.
That's what I'm here for, you know.
Well, Joe says, yeah, you are tall in the spirit and you do what you are to do for Yah's glory. That's all of us.
That's fact.
Yes. And she also says, I'm a trailer for her mama.
Well,
because her mama's full of fire.
I'm reminded of David. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, John.
Well, I was just going to say that I have to testify for Sandy. There's nothing that slows her down.
Yeah,
if she sees an injustice, boom, she's right there.
Yeah.
That's actually what my name means. It's defender of man. And if you go into the details of it, that's why it's so important what you call your child. That's what's been prophesied over me ever since you say my name, because I'm a defender. And that I would say that's truly.
She has giants for breakfast.
Giants for breakfast.
Well, you know, that's one of the reasons I loved having her on the show for as long as we did plan it, because her and I have opposing opinions, but we're both after justice. My wife says my middle name should have been Justice, because that's everything. That's what I watch every law show or every law movie or courtroom stuff out there, because I am so for justice and what's right. You know,
I did not know we had opposing opinions on everything. I did not know that.
Not on everything. I didn't. Did I say everything?
No,
I did.
No, not everything.
You have opposing opinions on stuff, you know, and then you were also my yes man. So, you know, no matter what I was doing, whatever. Yeah.
So in regards to justice, because considering what that verse was for today, to do justice, Mark, so how do you like those shows where you have this offense where the innocent is wrongly accused at the beginning and it takes 2 hours to resolve it? How do you handle that? Because I know how she handles it.
It's getting to it. What's the deal? It's not the end result. It's the journey to get there.
The journey to get there.
So if it takes 2 hours to get a resolve on it, then it's good. What sometimes it doesn't end up the same way that you think that it should. And that's the same thing. So responding to her Giants deal and everything, that you're talking the same thing, because it's like the justice or injustice is the Giants, and it's up to us as the little guy to stand against that injustice. It's just like if you have Kraken that are coming against the ship. You know, the Kraken is the Giants. See, they're giants, and you know, they're coming against your ship, and that's the Giants, and it's the Kraken, and so you have to stand against the Giants to do it. Did you expect anything less of them?
No, not at all.
Well, that's really good, and I wouldn't expect anything less. I think it's time to move on to the next topic, though.
JR's here.
Hey, you know what? By the way, in that verse that Sandy mentioned that she launched us all on this discussion, it was Deuteronomy 3:11, and it says, "For only Og." I wonder if anybody gave him a hard time about that name. Og. In junior high in America, it wouldn't. I'm just saying. Okay. For only Og, king of Bashan, was left of the remnant of the Rephaim. So the remnant of the Rephaim. So is there still a remnant in the earth today?
Not going there. You guys go ahead and talk about that. I don't get into that.
Yeah. So go to stevequail.com. You'll probably find out some stuff there. All right, JR, you've joined us live from
What's up?
South Carolina.
What's going on? Can y'all hear me good?
We can hear you. You're coming in loud and clear.
Awesome.
Carolinas rule over Texas. Both Carolinas rule over Texas.
I agree with that.
That's right.
Oh, I thought you said drool.
At first he did.
I would choose to disagree.
Hey, I will say something that you're short when you add 3/4 or a half to your height.
That's exactly right, but I have to do it.
Listen, no, hey, when I did MMA, they would announce me, and I'd be like, "Now, Mr. Announcer, you remember I'm 5'4.5". I'm fighting 6 foot tall guys out here. I can't be no 5'4".
I love it.
Well, let's just round it up to 5'2" then, because 3/4 is closer to 5'2". So I'm 5'2".
There you go.
Okay. All right. Now, Jonathan never says he's 6'4.25".
Yeah, when you get tall, you don't do it anymore.
That's absolutely not true, though, because my brother-in-law is like 6'5" or 6, or we were around somebody who was like 6'7". Oh, I remember. And Jonathan was like standing on his tippy toes because Jonathan always wants to be the tallest guy in the room. That was hilarious. He says, "I'm a big guy." He always says, "I'm big." Little boy in him comes out, "I'm big."
Did you hear the grace JR had? He says, "When you get tall." He didn't say when you mature.
No, I'm about to hit a growth spurt.
Get tall. Which is a nice way of saying mature.
All right.
Sorry.
Yeah, you're all right.
Well, good deal. Hey, so let's talk about the current event. Let's move into this segment and talk about giants in the land, and these. So
does it mesh without us even planning?
Well, I'm making it mesh.
Okay.
Because it's about standing day. Standing tall. Okay. So there we go. So we get that theme that's running along here. But no, hey, this is an article I pulled up over at newswars.com. It's also an article over at zerohedge.com, kind of talking about the same type of thing having to do with the mass shooter events this weekend. And if y'all have not kept up with what's going on and what has happened, there was a mass shooter event down at in El Paso, Texas, at a Walmart where 20 people were killed, 26 people were injured. And then following yesterday, there was a Dayton shooter down on, I guess it's kind of like the bar area of town. There was a shooter who shot and killed, I think, maybe a dozen people down there, shot about 20. A lot of people died, unfortunately. And so when I pull up this article over at newswars.com, it was an article by Paul Joseph Watson, because in the midst of all this, if we've noticed and we see how these news articles work, these events take place, and obviously there's a common theme for every type of shooting event, from going back all the way back to Columbine. Back in, what was that, 98, 99, somewhere along there, over at Columbine High School in or close to Denver, Colorado. And So we get these other mass shooting events. Now, there was actually something that had come out several days before that a big event was going to happen. Watch out, be aware of your surroundings. And because there are nefarious things that are going on in this world. Well, so and Antifa had put out some things that they were going to go to El Paso, Texas, because they're protesting President Trump's immigration. And now we have this event that took place at El Paso at a Walmart where there was a lot of people that were shot and killed. In the midst of this, the true reports come out initially, and then those begin to change within hours. Within hours, the first reports are always the most accurate, and then they're shifted and changed by the mainstream media as they pick them up, and then they change the narrative. So, according to eyewitnesses, there were 3 to 4 shooters that entered the Walmart, and there were actually sound and audio recordings of people, that actually got their phones running and to record anything that they possibly could in the area. And then they put those on Twitter, they put them on social media accounts, and you actually hear more than one gunfire going on. So just saying, this is just some stuff that's starting to come out as a result of this.
That will be silenced.
It'll be silenced because it always boils down to there's just one shooter.
And it's usually never that case.
Never usually that case. This case over there in El Paso, so we have these eyewitnesses that have just come on. There's been this, you and me type reporters, street reporters are going out there. What happened? What'd you see? What was going on? Well, we saw 3 to 4 guys all dressed in black come in, and they're wearing this type of outfit. They're wearing these, they're covered, they're masked. Well, what's Antifa wearing? They're wearing black outfits and that type of thing. And then mainstream media changes it, one shooter. And then they said it's all because of QAnon, which if anybody knows anything about QAnon has been this kind of a dropping of clues type of thing over there on 8chan. And then there's some different ways you can get his information. And people talk about it on YouTube, and what Q's been talking about, these data drops and things that are taking place. Don't be discouraged. What's going on? Kind of like the clue side of real news. Okay. And not fake mainstream media, but real news. People are reporting the real stuff that's taking place. But it's kind of like in the hint side, make you think, make you research, do some things like that. So mainstream media immediately said, well, this is all because of Q. It's all because of Alex Jones. It's all because of Paul Joseph Watson. It's all because of these people. It's because they stirred people up in anger. So what they've done is they created these boogeymen. In fact, they created President Trump into an image they want him to be, saying it's all because of President Trump that these shooters went out there and killed these people. Well, here's an article in Newswire, I'm going to get back to this, about the Dayton deal. And it says the Dayton Police Department announced they neutralized the gunman less than a minute after the shooting began and held a press conference to deliver the updates on the situation. So going on with some of the updates after that, it says that the police had responded to a gunman about 1 a.m. Sunday who is armed with a rifle, wearing body armor, carrying extra magazines in Dayton's Dayton's Oregon district, which was a number of restaurants, bars, and theaters. Images of the police standing over the dead shooter are circulating over social media, etc. He's 24-year-old Connor Betts of Bellbrook, Ohio. President Trump wish the victim's families his condolences and thank law enforcement for the rapid response. So I'm going to move down a little bit now. And President Trump also said, God bless the people of El Paso, Texas. God bless the people of Dayton, Ohio. And that was on his tweet. What happened to my article? Hold on.
Well, while you're looking, I'm going to say something. Tova said that when she was listening to the gun at the El Paso video, that it was not an AK-27, 47 or whatever.
AK-47.
It sounded like a shotgun to her. And we've got to remember that the media is skewed, lied, snipped and blended, and everything you hear, if you're listening to mainstream media for your news on these shootings or anything else, you're deceived. For a certain, they're going to give you a narrative that they're going to give you the narrative to push their agenda, and they're going to lie through their teeth about it.
So here it says, while the media was has been quick to blame President Trump for the mass shooting in El Paso. They noticeably quieter about the mass shooter in Ohio, who described himself as a socialist, praised Antifa, and expressed support for Elizabeth Warren. Now, word is coming out now that the two different shooters on their Facebook pages, initially they backed Antifa. They're very socialist. They had all of these different things on their Facebook and social media, and now it's being changed. One said he was a declared Democrat. He supported different things, and now they changed that he's a Republican now. Isn't that
amazing that they're skewing the truth?
They've gone in there and they've now edited his Facebook. But
how does that happen? How can they edit his Facebook?
Yeah, because the people at Facebook have access to your Facebook. So going on, says before it was suspended last night, Connor Betts' Twitter feed made it clear that he was a left-wing fringe extremist. Among other things, Betts described himself as a leftist. He tweeted, "I want socialism." He tweeted, "Warren, I'd happily vote for." He retweeted Bernie Sanders numerous times. And it says he retweeted Antifa accounts numerous times. He tweeted, "Kill every fascist." He tweeted, "Burn the world to the ground to start the new one." He repeatedly tweeted, "Hail Satan." He expressed praise and sympathy for Antifa terrorists who attempted to firebomb an ICE facility, calling him a martyr. He used Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's concentration camp rhetoric. He tweeted, "Vote blue, for God's sake." He wore a patch that said "Against all gods" with a capital G. He expressed support for Punch a Nazi meme, and he retweeted Right Wing Watch's Jared Holt, and he advocated for gun control.
Yeah, is he a Republican? No.
Yeah, so now you watch the mainstream media, they're blaming those that are on the other end of the spectrum for these shootings, and yet it is consistently every time. This is who it is. Now, here's some other things that's come out. And I think it was this guy here whose father is also, maybe it was the guy in El Paso, one of them whose father is actually he was the lead counselor, not a psychiatrist, but the lead counselor at a DARPA facility for mind control and actually brain chip implantation. And he's actually the son. Now, that carries a similar theme with the Aurora, Colorado shooter who had signed himself up for experimentation, and his own father was a psychiatrist and a mind type of researcher, and said that he completely blacked out during the time of the shooting, and he doesn't know why, and he felt that they were going to kill him, and he was actually captured alive. So, of course, now mainstream media is now blaming President Trump. They're making him into the big bad boogeyman giant who is so ugly in his rhetoric that it's causing all of these people now to go out and shoot people, innocent people. So there we go. There's the giant connection with this week's Torah portion. So we got JR in there? JR, are you still around? You're there? What do you think about this another round of stuff that's taken place this weekend?
You're muted.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
All right. I was watching a thing yesterday, and I could actually hear the second shooter. And it's just crazy because this stuff's been going on a long time. People are starting to wake up to it, but a lot of people don't know. Our government's been pretty crooked for a while. And a lot of times what they do is things for these false flag attacks and things. It's all to sway opinion. It's all to cause fear. And the main reason is because when we fear man, we're not trusting in Yahweh, and that's what they want. And the thing is too, if you look at like 9/11, just let's put an example of that. We've given away all of our freedoms since then. We literally today have given away everything so that they can keep us safe. And when it comes down to security, we'll give it all up. And it's just really sad, but we see a generation coming next that would basically almost, they're gonna be very dependent on Big Brother, and that's what they want. And these things are all facilitating to that little climax there.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's very interesting in the midst of them needing to continue this narrative for gun control as well, right? because isn't that what they're trying to do is generate more controversy to show why they need to limit magazines? Because one of the articles talked about how, he had a magazine that he had 100 rounds with him. So one of the things that they've been wanting to do is limit the rounds in the magazines and make those illegal. They actually passed that in California to limit the rounds of the magazines. And then I think the Ninth Circuit actually said that's illegal, and they got that reversed, at least temporarily in California. But nevertheless, those are one of the elements that's going on with that. So interesting. Mark, are you still around? I think you're muted, Mark.
Yeah, that's good. Probably good thing you didn't hear what I just said. No, I I don't know. I don't think there's much to say about it. My opinion is that this is bad. I just don't know enough about the political end, and you can have an opinion about it, what's actually going to happen. Just like what JR was saying, I agree. There's an agenda here on the follow-up to it. I don't think I don't know, because I don't have anything to base any other agenda on or anything like that. So I don't usually have much to say about this type of thing, but that's my deal.
Yeah. No, that's cool. But there's another element that I think is very interesting about this. That am I muted? No, I'm not muted. Okay. That I want to take in consideration, and this is how immediately Camilla Harris has used this as a fundraising event. That what's his name? Beto O'Rourke. Beto, what's his name? Is that his name? His fake name. The Irish guy who's trans Hispanic, who says he immediately went down there and blamed everything on President Trump. And in other words, saying that it's because of Trump's hateful and bigamous type, not bigamous, but just anti-immigration, racist rhetoric, which I've never seen. By the way, have y'all ever seen that? Have you ever heard him say anything racist or ever said anything anti-immigrant or anything like that? I mean, anything that's just been ugly. I've not seen anything. I've never seen him say anything. They say it all the time. The talking heads do. But in every clip that I see of President Trump, I never hear him saying anything like that, ever. But so they're making him into an Og. They're making him into this big King Og, this big king giant that's ugly. Everybody doesn't like this guy because he's a man eater, so to speak. And that is something that I think we all kind of look at, and we all kind of see that continuous thing that goes into a shaping of the mindset of America or of Americans or of the world, even a shaping of that mindset that says, well, is he really that way? Is he, in other words, do we fear him? Do we hate him so much that we could go as far as thinking that not only impeach him, but he needs to be thrown in jail, locked away, the key, execute, whatever? Is that what our mainstream media has done in our society? Have we become people that go with that? I mean,
America is highly influenced. I use America very wavering. It's the world is highly influenced, and they think that if it's out in the media, then it must be right. I mean, people that really don't stand up and voice their opinion don't really, they don't have an opinion. They let these things happen. And I think there's more sheep than there are shepherds, and which is the way it should be. But as time has gone on, the sheep have just allowed the wrong dominant force, which is the media, because there's so many different medias out there now. You know, I mean, it's just massive amounts of media. Who do you watch? Who do you know? You know, I mean, you guys are saying if you're watching mainstream media, you're getting the wrong message. Well, who do we watch? See, and so there's just so many different things, and nobody knows who's right or who's wrong. Especially if you're not letting the Holy Spirit lead and guide you, because, and that's another instance that I've said several times. It has to do with hope. We have hope, and the Spirit guides us to what's right and wrong and what we should know. If you don't have the Spirit of God in you, you may have hope, but it's not the hope of God.
Yes.
And so that can influence you if you're not letting the Spirit influence you in the right way to go. That's the way I would look at it.
Yeah, that's really good, Mark. And you know, that's the importance of discernment, and we have to filter everything. And just so that you all know kind of how I do it is there's a lot of information, and I get my information from a lot of different sources, and I take those things that end up being the common theme that is most consistent, that I can resolve with, and I end up finding out that over time, if not immediately, over time it ends up being the truth. And that's that filter process, Mark, you're talking about. We got to filter everything. I don't think we should be people with our heads in the sand. We just have to be really careful and always have our antenna up and alert, and but also just be very, very discerning in how we get that information, so we can filter it through those Holy Spirit filters and all of that. And there was something interesting. Tova had put this in here. She said, someone needs to watch the Incredibles 2 movie. Screenslaver said those exact same words about not knowing he was doing what they accused him of. So isn't it interesting how these things actually show up? You know, it's almost like predictive, prophetic things that show up within the entertainment industry. So, all right. Well, I think it's time for us to jump on to the next into the next category, which is the Haftorah, Brit Hadasha. And Mark, you've got something for us today.
I have the Brit Hadasha, and what's usually done, let's see, what I was looking here is Matthew 24:1 is usually what's posted up with this, but I want to take it from the first part of the first words there. Deuteronomy, or Devarim, is words, and Deuteronomy 1:1 says these are the words that Moshe spoke to all Israel beyond the Jordan in the wilderness. And I have been looking at words and what people say, and the parts to that we of course that we speak. And I've looked at Matthew 16:13 through 20, where it says, when Yeshua came to the region of Caesarea Philippi, he asked his disciples, who do people say that the Son of Man is? And that's an interesting question, because he's not asking them specifically to start off with, who do you say that I am? He's asking, who do people say? In other words, you're out there among the people, and you're hearing what people are talking about. They're talking about me. What are they saying? And of course, they replied, some say John the Baptist, others say Elijah, and still others, Jeremiah or one of the prophets. And then Yeshua responds with, but what about you? He asked, who do you say I am? And then Kepha answers, you are the Messiah, the Son of the living God. It's interesting that I'm getting a lot of feedback here for some reason. Let me take you. It's interesting to me that Yeshua is interested because people, it's the same as today. People won't come to you or come to me and talk to me, won't tell me who they think I am, or tell John or JR who they think they are, but they will talk behind their backs. Even the Messiah had people talking behind his back. I mean, it's only natural, but he's interested in what they're saying and then comparing it to what the disciples who are spending time with him are saying. And these are the words that he's interested in, because his fame throughout the land is interesting to him. He doesn't base what he's doing, but see, I think it's 21, and this doesn't go to 21 where I'm at here, but I believe in verse 21 it says, don't go out and tell them anything. And so it's interesting to me that we listen to what other people say and don't base our opinions on what people what we think that somebody is or who they are. And it's the same thing with what happens in most of the book of Deuteronomy, is that it is Moshe giving his account of what happened up into this point, from the time they left and up into this point. And as we very well know, we can look at the same situation and get multiple different opinions on what happened. If everybody knows that through the years in a car accident, the police or the investigators are going to interview as many people as they can find to get an overall view of what the witnesses say, to get a better picture. And then they have to decipher all of that. I mean, even yet today, they will go get different video camera monitors, the SCTV that's all over everywhere, to take a look at the whole situation. And not that the Messiah needed this to make his own opinion of himself, but it would be good to know those things about who you are. As the owner of Lamb Radio, I'm always interested in what people are saying about the network. I'm going to check everything that comes in as far as notifications. I get all the notifications from any show that's on. If somebody leaves a comment, I get those comments. And it's interesting to me. It's vital information to me to know what people are liking. We just got an email from somebody that just found the website, and now they're going back and watching some old War Room videos and are going to be coming to the War Room and things like that. So to me, I need this information to help me know how to better Lamb Radio, the website, the network. I need all of that. Once again, though, Yeshua didn't need this, but I would assume also that he's asking them what people are saying, because it helps them to be able to compare what other people are saying. And then, of course, he asks each individual, who do you say that I am? And it gets them to verbalize that, not just think about that. So you're not basing an opinion on the Messiah based on what other people say, but you can hear yourself say it. You are the Son of God. You are the Messiah. That type of thing. So that's my little spiel on that.
Yeah, that's good. Those are that's really good. I was just thinking when you said all this that not everything is as it appears, and that's what the crowd was thinking regarding Yeshua. Not everything appears as it is, but it took the revelation to Peter. JR.
Yeah, I mean, if you look, even like we've got where the two in the road to Emmaus, those guys are walking with Yeshua, and they don't even realize who he is at that moment. And I think it is because it is literally the Spirit is what reveals the Messiah to us. And those guys, and I don't know, when they're walking the road to Emmaus, I truly, that was kind of a sign, in my opinion, that the Jews were going to be blinded to him and not see him. But at the same time, I think it's without the Ruach, we can't understand. We can't see the Messiah. We can't truly understand who he is and what he's come to do. And when the Ruach really opens up the word, we see from Bereshit all the way to Revelation, we see the Messiah and his plan and what he came to do. But I don't know. It's just I don't know. I think it's, even if looking back there, when we say who do we say that he is? I mean, that's my question. Who do I say that the Messiah is? That's a question that I could ask a lot of people, and I don't know how many people could actually say, I believe he's Yahweh in the flesh. I believe he came, basically, he is the manifest presence of Yahweh. He has always been the one that man could see, because no man can see Yahweh and live, but they can see his son.
Yeah. What was very interesting, we got to go to Israel at it was a couple years ago now that we were able to go, and it was a wonderful trip. And the very place that Yeshua gave that little speech was Sandy would say what the name is, but it's a place in northern Israel, and it's really close where the golden calf was set up. Very close to that place. It's not the exact place, but it was a place on the mountain where they carved into the rock these different idols. And the place was known as basically called the gates of hell. And so it's about a day field trip to walk up from where they were.
Philippi.
What was that?
Caesarea Philippi is right next to the cave that's called the Gates of Hell.
Yes. And so he takes this field trip with his disciples up to this place and then gives this speech, which is very, very significant. I think if you can take all those different things and put the pieces together, it was so powerful, because when we were there standing at that location, then we were they actually asked me to read this scripture and kind of talk about it as it related to what we were seeing. And the impact to me was, oh my goodness, Yeshua is saying, look, even the gates of hell will not prevail against the revelation of this knowledge that I'm giving you right now, that you, Peter, just saw, that this place where it's a fearful place, is demonic place, where all this, where we see in the supernatural realm, is the epitome of one of the places that probably, as Sandy was talking about earlier, where are giants? Giants are at the places where these gates of hell are, these places that are the most spiritually strong, big spiritual strongholds of earth are. Perhaps this is one of those places, like a portal to the supernatural realm, if you want to use that, a doorway. And in this opening, that's what they use. They sacrifice babies here. And Yeshua is saying, hey, I took you up on this field trip today to show you who you are, because I'm in you. this revelation in you is a rock that is solid, that even the gates will not prevail against. I'm telling you not to back down on what you believe. I'm telling you that you are to stand against anything that's thrown at you, because greater is he that's in you than he that's in the world. Mark.
Amazing. When I was there on the first tour I did, they also asked me to read that scripture.
Oh, is that right?
I'm serious as I can be. When you said that, I got the biggest smile on my face, because I read it too, and everything you said, it's like you and I were at the exact same, had the same host or whatever right there, and that's pretty cool. I could remember it vividly, and the little stream that comes down from the mountain that runs all through there and everything, the clear water and all that.
Beautiful.
I remember it.
Beautiful area.
And we did a lot of things on the tour, that first tour, but that's one of the ones that I remember the most because of the impact that it has on you when you're right there. But I thought that was interesting that you mentioned a portal, like, because it gives you a visual as you're looking into this dark cave. It's like right here on earth, there's a portal and you could visualize that in your own life. You know, you can, as you're living your day-to-day life, you can recognize that if I walk this way onto this path, there's an actual dark portal in front of me that I'll be walking right into hell. But if I take this path over here, it is all light and it's the right path. And that's interesting. That's a good way to look at it. Is it's kind of like Balaam and the donkey. You know, the donkey wasn't letting him walk into that portal. He had to go the other way, and the donkey knew it. So, you know, it's kind of the same thing. Pretty cool.
Yeah,
a lot.
Yeah, very cool. Oh, that's cool. I love that. We're tracking together, sharing the same experience, different years. So that's cool. JR, do you have any last words on this one?
Well, I know that I like, we're just speaking of the giants and how, you know, the portals and stuff. We can just look at where Yeshua came down with Elijah, or where Elijah and Moses came down. That came through a portal, the ladder of Jacob. That Jacob's ladder. That there's a place where the angels came. There's a place that they went to, and I truly believe I truly believe that's what CERN is trying to get into. That's what they're doing at CERN, is they're trying to open these portals to where the different beings come through. And there's way too more than we understand, but that's what they were there for.
Oh, very good. No, that's true. That's a whole nother can of worms there, JR.
Yeah, I know.
but it's the same concept, and we need to keep that in mind. And but very good. So a lot of things we talked about today. So in the other aspect, as I brought in other things that I talked about, standing day. This is a day it's a standing day. So where, as we finish up this theme that's kind of threaded itself through all of these different stories and the different discussions today, it's about standing firm, standing, you know, more than stand by your man, or don't stand so, or any of those different, stand by me. Okay, right. I don't have the same, sorry, voice as that guy did. But nevertheless, to stand. And when we tie it all together, what are we doing? After we've done all but stand, after we put on the full armor of Yah. And that's how we're going to do it. That's how we will prevail. It's through the revelation. It's through the armor. It's through prayer, petition, and the declarations that we make as we stand on that word. And so all of these good things. And even in the midst of false stories and narratives of, you know, current events, and trying to wade through the murky waters to get the truth, we're going to stand. So, well, great broadcast, guys. Sandy had to take off for a very particular reason, but really enjoyed it. Really good discussion today. Y'all, everybody that's listening today, give us a thumbs up. Put that on your social media. Put it on your Facebook accounts or Instagram, or tweet this out. However you use social media, put it on there. Put it on your favorites, and let everybody know about the things that we're talking about here on Lamb Radio. Let us reason together, and invite people to come join us next week as well. We want to get that word out as well. I want to say thank you very much, JR. Thank you for coming in, joining us today. Mark David Smith, we sure really enjoyed having you there. And also, by the way,
I'm waving at JR.
Oh, there we go.
And now I'm waving at you.
JR is this way. My camera's backwards, like on my thing.
I know it is. So hey, JR, can you touch my finger? Look, we're a state apart. But
I think something's wrong with all of us.
There we go.
Hey, I don't know.
Right. See,
E.T. Go home. Phone. So, and of course, don't want to leave out my lovely wife, Miss Sandy Craig, and was a great part of the show as well. So thank you all, and thank you all our listeners for being part. You all that were in the chat room that joined us, sure appreciate y'all being there with us today and your comments. So, well, with that said, and on behalf of Lamb Radio and Let Us Reason Together, this is John Craig, and until next time, shalom.